And by the way, the podcast thing has been such like a good idea for your channel. Like, I haven't really seen anyone kind of do the one-on-one style. Like, it's branded as Will Ross, but it's like the podcast stuff. And you've had some really cool guests on. I watched the Grayson episode. I watched Nick as well. You know, so it's super cool, man. I'm stoked to be on.
Thank you, brother. Thank you, brother. Yeah, well, I'm excited to have you on, man. I'm excited to pick your brain and kind of, you know, I love learning more about, you know, the whole goal. I've said this in a couple podcasts as well, but the whole goal is just to get other entrepreneurs' perspectives onto how they built their SMMA. You know, something that I think is like super consistent across the industry is everybody's got a different story. And so like this guy may say, you know, I scaled through LinkedIn, I scaled through cold email, I scaled through cold calling, and I'm just like, everybody's got their thing, and I think it's cool to just lay out the options and see how other people have been successful. So super excited to get into it, man. But hey, I think this is a good starting point. But Luke Jackson, thank you so much for hopping on, man. I think this is going to be a super valuable one, but I'll kind of hand over the floor to you to start it off, man, and just kind of let people know, you know, who you are if they don't already, and we can dive right into it.
Yeah, cool. So I'd like to say thank you again, Will, for having me on. It's a really cool opportunity. It's actually the first podcast I've been a guest on, technically, so it's pretty cool. Yeah, so my name's Luke Jackson. I'm 18 years old. I run an SMA. I've been in the game for around 9 months, eight months now. So pretty new, but also, you know, kind of a long time. I've been in the online marketing world, you know, trying to make money online for a longer time. So I've learned a few things beforehand, and my company is MultiplyX, and I'm sure we're going to get into everything that we do and kind of break it down and give some good advice.
Definitely, man. Yeah, you said kind of been in the making money online space for a long time. Can you talk about how maybe your first experience aided you into building an SMMA and kind of what that looked like from an initial interest of, I know that I want to make money online, to now I'm owning an agency? You know, how was that process like?
Yeah, totally. And I think it's such an important conversation to have, because if I was to talk one-on-one with a person, I wouldn't just go straight into, okay, this is the best outreach script you need to go into and all this, because the things I learned by trying, for example, Amazon FBA, drop shipping, I tried stocks for some reason, even though I had no money, you know, but what it did was start, you know, creating the mindset of, one, sitting down and focusing, right? And then restructuring the pre-existing self-limited beliefs that everyone has, right? Because, and that's so difficult at the beginning when you haven't really had any evidence, because, you know, even if you see online, like, oh, you know, I made 10K per month, I make this, and yes, it is doable, I can say that, but for someone watching me say that, it won't hit as much as if they went and made the money, you know? And I'm sure you can understand that. So I've been you know, drop shipping, like I said, all these things. I was working a 9-to-5 job in London, but I'm sure we'll get on to all that, the real story. But yeah, and then I kind of found SMA, and found the business model that I really thought I could do. And then ever since, it's been pretty crazy as well. So
yeah, man. Yeah, definitely. I like what you said. And I do want to get into what your first job was. I want to ask you about that, but I also want to touch on, like, I want to reiterate the point you made where it's cool. You know, I think seeing a realistic view on YouTube to, like, I've made videos that are like how to make 3,000, how to make 5,000 a month on SMMA, and those way outperform my like 10 to 15,000 a month videos. It's because somebody may see that and be like, that's doable. Like, that's doable. Yeah. And so if I come across videos like drop shipping, how to make $100,000 in your first month of drop shipping, it's like, all right, man, you know, I don't know if that's, you know, something I can do. But I think the thing that kind of connects, I guess, viewers and people that watch our videos, that connect them more with creators like me and you that maybe not are the biggest quite yet, is like, I can get to the point where these guys are. And like, you know, I don't know about you, but I always say to my audience, like, I'm not special. You know, I think I have a little bit of leg up in the marketing world as to like the lay, you know, person, but it's not that much of a difference to the point where somebody that doesn't know anything about marketing can't get to where I am. So I think it's a very cool aspect of SMMA in general and just starting an agency. But I want to touch on your first job. You know, I've got a funny story about mine, but I like to hear where people come from and kind of your upbringing. So just kind of hand over the floor.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the beginning of the, really wanted to make online income, and that was like took up a lot of my thinking, was a kind of job from hell, really. I landed, so I dropped out of college to do a recruitment consultant job in London, and it was, so I had to be in the office at 8:30 a.m. So in the morning. So I'd leave where I live, just on the outskirts of London, at like 6:30 a.m. right,
God.
and then the thing is, it finished at like 6:30 p.m. like the actual shift. So I had to run to the train, like sprint through in the capital of London, to get the train. Otherwise, I'd get home with, maybe at 8:40 p.m. With an hour to spare, Monday, Friday. So it was more than a 9 to 5. It was like, because of the travel either side, and then the longer shift, like it's added like a 1 hour 30 on each side. And then doing that Monday, Friday was just like, I can't believe how bad this is. And I said to my friends, like, even if I was getting paid 200k a year, I don't think I'd do this, because that's not the point.
Right.
It's never, you're never meant to chase money, and that's something I want to talk about a little bit later. But it's like that was the goal, and it was like, how can I do this? But the problem was, I'd get home, go to the gym, and then it was 9:30, and I had to wake up early because I had to do it again, right? And that's how the motivation started building, and yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I think you almost have to know what the other side is like to be that motivated to get to the point you want to be at. I know there's some exceptions, but like, for the big guys on YouTube or the big agency owners, like 9 out of 10 of them come from places of extreme poverty, or like they don't grow up privileged at all. And so like they know. Right, exactly. And so they know where not to end up. And so like they'll do anything to be as successful as possible to not get to that point. Not that any of us, me or you, were come from a place of, insane poverty, but I was fortunate enough to grow up in a nice family, decent money. I wasn't like high class at all, but enough to get by. And I went through college, graduated. My first job was, and this is what I wanted to relate to what you were saying, was like I worked for a power tool company. And I won't say the name, but I worked for a power tool company in a Home Depot, which I don't know if you're familiar with what the Home Depot is, but here in America, it's like where people go to buy like supplies for building stuff, in their yard, in their garden, in their house. It's just like a home goods store, whatever. Yeah. And so I got there, and I did it for a month and a half while I was building my agency on the side. And like you said, kind of similar story. I'd wake up every day super early, have to get on Georgia 400, which like in Atlanta, Georgia is like one of the worst highways in the whole United States of America. And it's just every morning you're dreading it. And, it was in a bad area. And it's like, you're kind of just in this mindset of like, I knew that eventually I wanted to quit that and do my agency full time, but it happened so much quicker. I was only there for a month and a half, because like I would go to work and then go home and be like, okay, I have to make this work so I could get the hell out of where I'm at right now. So props to you. I think everybody's kind of has to go through that rough phase. But man, getting to the SMMA part of it, was there an influencer or a moment where you found yourself, thinking, hey, I think I could do this? And then what was the actual moment where you started? What did starting look like? Because I know for some people it's, actually creating a name and a logo, which I don't agree with, or it's like actually outreaching. How did you start, and how long did it take you to actually be successful and land your first client?
Yeah, so it's a funny story how I actually came up with the idea of running an agency. I watched Undercover Billionaire, and it was Grant Cardone. He was doing his episode, and he essentially did the SMA business model, but in real life. So he would obviously walk into businesses and be like, well, we can do all your social media marketing for 1,000. I mean, he was throwing out, big figures for like social media, like $4,000. And I was like,
right.
No one's doing this. Maybe I could do this. And then, of course, I soon find out that everyone in the world runs a Facebook ad agency, and everyone is doing it. But I thought I'd found the secret business model that was like, going to make me rich, and no one else was doing it. So that was how I came into like social media marketing, and I started researching it. Obviously, found Iman, but I knew of him a little bit earlier because he's quite a big brand. But Iman, sorry,
they go both ways, man. It's confusing.
yeah. And then kind of started with the agency. Obviously, I have a business partner. So me and him were, starting with the agency. How we signed our first client was pretty instant. So within the first week or two, and it's because we just leveraged who we knew. We found a video saying, do you know anyone in your network, connections, possibly family that has a business that you could do for? My business partner's father's friend had a business, so we did social media management for them. It was a pizza store client, very low ticket, but we were like, we were obviously gassed, like we had just like made our first money, first client. It's really exciting. Sure. It's like, oh, maybe we can do this. And then, which I recommend to anyone, like, guys, if you're really struggling to find that first client, or at least find that first opportunity, leveraging who you know has more connections than you may think. Like it really does, and it really helped us at the start. And then kind of went to the Facebook ad thing, and the way we'd done it, the reason we actually signed free clients was because we'd literally stay up at, we'd wake up at 5:30 a.m., write 1,000 first lines. Like, we thought every single email had to be personalized. So we were just, it's the worst days of my life thinking back. That was terrible. But it was just personalized first line, went into the beauty niche, and then just service delivery was a little bit all over the place. They couldn't actually afford ad budget for the second month, so we were like, okay. So we had a few e-com clients at the peak of the social media management and e-commerce agency, and then kind of lost all our clients, but we had money. But we were kind of glad anyway. It wasn't like oh no, maybe this isn't working. It wasn't a down moment. It was actually quite a good moment, because we realized, like, we had no leverage in a Facebook ad agency. Like, we were already making YouTube content. We were already kind of branding on social media. And we were like, why don't we just leverage what we're already good at? So we were like, okay, cool. We have money now. We can go invest really hard into a kind of content, personal branding agency. And then that's where we've really, been able to use the leverage we have and go and sign a lot of clients and build out a really good service for our clients as well. Because, it's like, between me and my viewers, if I was to go a Facebook ad agency or whatever I was doing at the time, there's no difference. Like, but with a personal brand agency, you have leverage. So that's how we kind of transitioned and the start.
Yeah, definitely. So you use like YouTube and Instagram as kind of like an entryway to signing other people and growing their businesses as well. How does that outreach look like at the moment for doing that?
Yeah, Instagram is for sure our strongest. We love scaling on Instagram to a point where we have about 5-6 VA accounts, like people all, prospecting for us, because we've just found personally, like, and like, when I say this, it doesn't mean that you should go and run to Instagram. Instagram's the best. It just means, for me, like, for us, it's what's worked best for us.
Sure.
And I do think it's very, very strong as well. We've tried Twitter outbound. I personally hate Facebook outbound, but that's just me. I feel like there's a bunch of weirdos on there just pushing appointment setting with ridiculous guarantees. Like, I've seen some silly guarantees. Like, it's just silly. But yeah, so the outreach at the moment is just looking Instagram prospecting. We're working on running ads for our offer, and then inbound as well, and referrals.
Yeah, definitely. I'd recommend, and I only recommend this because I just got into it, running ads for your actual agency. I was on a podcast. I don't know if you're familiar with Cody Gavin, if you came across that podcast, but we talked about actually using advertising for your agency as like a huge method of outreach. And like, not many people talk about it on YouTube, but like right now I'm getting a cost per lead of like $5. And that's amazing. And so it's like,
you need to just have a conversation after this. Help me out.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, I think that's interesting. So one of my questions I had for you, and I always am interested, because whenever somebody has like a similar following like me, I'm interested. Are you getting any inbound leads for content that you're pushing out, or is pretty much every I guess agency client coming to you from outbound outreach? Are you having anybody come to you through YouTube, Instagram, saying like, "Hey, saw your content. Do you want to work with me?" kind of thing?
Yeah, I'd say it's actually fairly like 50-50. It's quite a lot. We run a few offers where, YouTube inbound, there's just have a play, like an editor installment placement offer. And we've also had offers where it's actual short form clients, you know, coming in from my brand, because I do a lot of videos on short form content, so they see that. And but it's a lot more than I actually thought. Like, if you have a lot of content out there, like you will start building systems that actually acquire inbound leads, and it's just another form of an acquisition channel that it's so powerful and you really need it. I'm sure we'll get onto the current state of SMA, but it's really, really powerful. Yeah. So without that, we'd be pretty not screwed, but there'd be a lot less monthly recurring revenue. Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. And one of my questions I was about to lead into, but I think you kind of answered it, was like, how have you been able to gain a leg up in such a saturated niche service? And I think you answered it with personal brand. It's like, if you have the volume and the thought leadership, and it's like you have the case studies and you have a personal brand. It's like, I've been there, done it for my own, personal brand. I can do it for you, kind of thing. Is that what's really giving you a leg up, I guess, in terms of beating other short form agencies?
100%, man. Like for example, I jumped on a call with a client who we're still working with. He's big on TikTok. He jumped on the call and the first thing he said was, "Oh, by the way, I know you." He's like, "Oh, I've seen your content. Like, I know you. Like, I've seen you on Thingy." I don't think people understand. I really hope you understand how easy it was then to say my price and him to say, "Yeah." Like, it was so easy, right? Because he had already seen me. He's already a warm prospect. Like, a lot of people when getting on sales calls, it's like you haven't thrown any sort of energy or sales asset towards a prospect, and it's like there's no reason why your closing rate's like 15%. Like, it's done. They need to have consumed so much content from your brand to a point where they jump on a corner. It's kind of like a no-brainer, and
right.
And yeah, that's what I'm really focused on going into 2023, building that out, because I think that's such a return on investment. Like I said, there people just jumping on a call and it's like they're already half closed. I just kind of have to push them through a door, which is really powerful. So 100%. And I would, if anyone's listening, like, the most important thing you can do is start building out a personal brand. Like, it's the most important thing you could do. Like, especially because AI and is kind of wiping away services a little bit. Like, it's really dangerous, right? And the only thing that you have, the greatest asset that someone has, is yourself, because you can't replace yourself. Like, no one else can be me. No one else can have the brand of me. Therefore, it can't be replaced. But the thing is, like AI and maybe just having a Facebook ad agency, even if you're on like 4K, 5K per month, it's like, you run a risk of needing a job again. Like,
right.
You do run that risk, and I think by building out a personal brand, it's that safety net, And
Absolutely.
I think that's the most important thing people can do.
Absolutely. So you mentioned earlier you have a business partner. Does he also have a personal brand that he's scaling as well? And I'm assuming that's another inbound kind of funnel for you guys?
Yeah, 100%. You should have him on as the next guest, Harvey Warner.
Definitely.
Yeah, he just hit 1K on YouTube. 100%. He's all in. We have we have very similar minds. We normally agree on absolutely everything. We believe we see things 3 steps ahead, and so there'd never be a world where he wasn't building a personal brand, and that as well, to be honest, gives us a lot of leverage against other short form agency owners, because like we have so many accounts. Like like they might, if they don't jump on a piece of content from me, they might do it from Harvey, or vice versa, right? And sometimes I'll book a call, sometimes from his account he'll book a call. So it's like, it's double power, right?
Definitely, yeah, super valuable. I totally agree in that almost having a personal brand is kind of a no-brainer and almost not an option anymore. I think you could argue 5 years ago, you could have a YouTube channel, you could have an Instagram, you could do this and that and still be successful. But now, like, if you genuinely don't want to spend any money and you want to start, especially something like a short form agency, where I would argue now it's almost like extremely saturated, but you're still able to find success because you've proven it through thought leadership and social proof. So very, very cool, man. So I wanted to get into short form, and I'm actually not that familiar with that. My agency really has 3 main pillars, and I would say one pillar kind of feeding into the smaller two. Really, the biggest one now is email marketing. I started it as social media management. Really, now it's email marketing, and that kind of funnels. That gets my foot in the door, and then once a client trusts me, I offer them social media management and Facebook ads or TikTok ads. TikTok is probably more than Facebook now. But, I wanted to learn more about short form, and not only for creating content for other businesses and other agencies or whatever, but for personal brand stuff, for my personal brand stuff. What makes a good short form video, and what are some trends, I guess, that you've seen have helped you succeed with your personal brand, but also the businesses that you work with, succeed as well?
Yeah, that's a good question. Because shorts is like such a short video, almost every single second of the short needs to be at the highest quality, like performed at the highest quality within every video. So there's basic like video production stuff like your lighting, your camera. This thing is just obviously going to make the video pop a lot more, but it's just about having the right hooks, right? So we work with a client who's big on TikTok, and we go into him about, this hook needs to lead to this hook. Not just like it hooks into the video, like the hook leads into another hook, And then you've got the editing style, right? The editing style, it's different because some brands have really different editing style to others, but majority just having the engaging content, having the B-rolls, having the content of them to add that more personal effect. But with the overall short form agency, it's not just short form content. Like that's why I call it more of like a personal branding agency, because with just the short form, like you're not really that desirable. So, for example, we're working with a client. We do his thumbnails, his YouTube script writing, building out that brand. We've also built him a Discord community, trying to monetize a community for him. So it is just kind of building out that whole personal brand presence, and that's how we've been able to actually get higher ticket. But yeah, man, we just try to. Obviously, we're working with a solar client as well. We're trying to just give them the intro hooks, trying to change up the scenery of their content. So that there is a few things that go into it for sure. Yeah,
definitely. Yeah. So just ballpark here, and you don't have to share any specific numbers if you don't want to. But if somebody's trying to get into short form, as an agency model, as a service, as the backbone of their agency, what pricing should they be looking at? From the very entry level kind of basic servicing to like full scale consulting, short form brand growth. What's the pay range look like?
I mean, I can say, not disclosing anything, but if you want to go full scale, you can land over 3K. Like you can land really, really high ticket deals, but it really depends, man. I mean, if a client's doing one short per day, let's just say that because majority of people will just do the short form, right? So I'm just talking to short form agency owners that are doing one per day. I feel like 4 months ago you could have charged like 1K. Pretty easily, but now I feel like everyone's just kind of trying to outprice each other, and it's kind of ruining the niche, to be honest. Like people going very low and lower, so I feel like 600, 700 is a good ball range. But if you're just beginning, like don't be afraid of having a 400 USD client for 1 month for one piece of short form content per day. But yeah, that's the kind of pricing you're looking at. I mean, with us, it's like we actually bring them money, like we actually bring our clients money instead of views as well. Our client made, I can't remember what it was, but he has an e-com course. We ran like to the Discord server. There's an upgrade, so that made him a lot of money. So if you can make your client money, you can charge higher, right? But yeah, I mean, with short form, it's like, yeah, man, there's so many people doing it. It's like everyone's trying to outprice each other to the point like, how low can we go? Like, it's,
Yeah, and you have people, from these overseas countries and whatever that really undercut the market. And
yeah,
I think there's a lot to say about the quality of that and kind of how that's affecting SMMA, which I think it's a good segue into kind of my next question. But like, what do you think is the current status? I know I'm going to say current status of SMMA, but it really encompasses marketing agencies as a whole as like a business model. What's the current status of that? And I guess a follow-up question would be, if I'm brand new and I'm just now starting to learn about the marketing agency space, where do I start, and what advice would you give to somebody that's going into an industry with the status that it's in?
Yeah, so I'll answer the first question first. And I feel like the agency game's hard now. I'm not going to lie. I think it's probably the hardest it's possibly ever been. There's a few reasons for this. Obviously, the first one being that everyone's pushing so many offers. I feel like it's become the new drop shipping in a sense, where if more people are going to push an outreach message to a prospect, it's like it's going to become more difficult to get that prospect into a client. That's just the numbers game that it is. I feel like if you were to start SMA 4 years ago, it's a gold mine. Like I always like, I wish I knew about this 4 years ago, because I'd be very rich. But yeah, I think it's really hard. And I think the way I see it going is, if like, do you have an audience? Like, do you have content, or do you have like a really, really stupidly good offer? Right? So, you know, a lot of people are winning by just building out fantastic offers that take more risk on themselves, and also, you know, more systems in place behind it. Whether this is hiring team members to kind of fulfill the offer, or just, you know, doing it themselves. But I feel like the only two ways to win in SMA now, just because how it is like difficult, is content, having an audience, personal brand, or just building out a really, really stupidly good offer and just trying to promote that as much as you can. And the second question, can you just repeat it again? Sorry.
Yeah. So somebody going into an industry like SMA that it's in, and in such a hard industry, how am I, you know, if I'm brand new, how am I going to find success, and what, I guess, alleyways would you take to get there?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting, because it's like, you can talk about the things behind the scenes of how to be successful online, how to make huge sums of money online, to a point where you're taking, you know, 10K per month, right? Mindset wise. And then there's actually like the business tactics of it, right? And I think one thing that I've really discovered, me and Javi always talk about this, is like, everyone's going to have their own way to get wealthy. Like, everyone's going to build wealth in their own way. I think a lot of people just starting off really try and replicate someone. They try and completely model themselves off someone. And just by definition, that's never going to work, because they are them. They built their agency and their offer and their service and their branding around their offer at a certain time, and it worked for them. So what I think is, you know, what I wish I could tell myself is, like, you're going to have your own way. It doesn't need to be completely copied by Eman Gaji or someone else, like a Joel Kaplan, right? You're going to have to find wealth your own way. And I think another piece of advice I would say, we've mentioned it a lot, but it's like, guys, you really do need to start building out that personal brand. Like, it's just essential. I really think you'll probably fail if you don't.
Yeah, totally agree.
Yeah.
One other thing I'm doing in my outreach right now, and I'm automating cold email through Instantly AI, but I'm actually, like, at the bottom tagging my YouTube channel. And it's like, so if they don't know who I am, they have something to kind of go off of, and they see the kind of videos that I'm making. They're like, oh, this guy knows his shit. Like, you know, I don't see that happening a lot, but it's like, it's just I could add case studies from my agency. But if I record a video and it's on my YouTube channel, I send an outreach message, and they're now looking at YouTube videos, or I'm looking at the camera talking, and I'm talking them through an email automation process. It's like you get the personalization part of it without really having to personalize the email, if that makes sense.
Powerful.
So it's like, yeah, exactly. And so it's like, you know, I don't have to go, you know, hey, Luke, love the personal brand that you're doing over the past couple of years. It's like, you know, the same boring stuff. It's pretty much just like, hey, company name, saw you on this. You know, I saw that you guys could benefit from email marketing. I actually have a YouTube channel with just under 3,000 subscribers. Check it out. You know, if you're interested, great. If not, great. Talk to you hopefully soon. And it's like, that is so much more, I think, genuine and powerful than something that comes across like somebody's email that's like, hey, my name is Will, and I run an agency actually tailored towards e-commerce clients, and I run Facebook ads. And so it's like, if you'd like me to see some case studies
of the old e-com outreach.
Ah, man, it's crazy. And so it's like, it's funny because we both understand that, because we've been through that. And I feel like you almost have to get through a phase of like, of the almost pointless outreach to know what works and what doesn't work. But it's like you said, it's a hard industry to break into. But I think if you're consistent, which is the backbone of every single thing I talk about, because it's so prevalent, the people that are consistent with a good offer, as opposed to like the volume times the value of your service equals the probability of your success. I mean, think about it. If you're not sending any volume, but you have a great offer, nobody's going to see that offer. But if you have a lot of value or a lot of volume and your offer shit, nobody's going to take your stuff. But if you can combine value and volume, man, it's so incredibly powerful. So I think that's a good spot for new SMMA owners. Try to package those two. Try to take as much time as you can out of your week and create a personal brand. It really is going to pay off, and it's fun. Like, I love this. I just love sitting down and talking about it. So and meeting cool people like you, man, and it's cool just because now I have these connections, and every single podcast that I have, it's like, I'm sure we'll stay in touch after this. I love 100%. It's a good way to make friends. So 100%. Anyway, it's fun. It's fun.
Yeah, I've always been a creator in that sense, I believe. Anyway, I've always been kind of destined to not be a YouTuber, but have some sort of personal brand. It's fun, man. Like, I love it. I love looking at the views. I love seeing what's popping, what's better, how I can build the brand out. And I think, man, it's really without that, like, this whole thing would be really, really boring. Like, if I was just tasked with scaling a company, scaling an agency, like, I'd be hella bored, right? But
definitely.
Building the audience is like, it's cool as well, because as much as that takes off, the agency and your income will also take off as well.
Exactly. Yeah, it's something to look forward to too.
Yeah, I'm going for it.
No, I was just gonna say, like you said, building that agency can be boring by itself, but it's like, I look forward to, like, I usually have all my meetings in the morning. I look forward to the afternoon where I can film a YouTube video, edit it, and then schedule it for the next day. So it's almost like a creative outlet, that you really don't get outside of making content for your clients, which is work at the end of the day. And this is kind of a passion project while scaling your business at the same time. So sorry to cut you off, but yeah.
No, that's right. No, I was just going to say, because I think it's really important for people to know, it's like, if they knew how bad I started off, like, you would have so much hope. Like, for example, my first piece of outreach, our first piece of outreach, I should say, was on a Gmail account with the subject line social media marketing, and it was a one line of just saying we can make you more money through social media marketing. I sent 2 emails, and I promise you, like, with all my heart, I slept there, woke up thinking I'd have 2 clients. I was like, they're going to reply. How are they not going to want this, right? The worst outreach script ever, the worst subject line, 2 emails on a Gmail, and I thought, this is it, right? I've cracked it. And think how stupid that is, right? But that's how I started. So there's so much hope for everyone. Like, it's like you learn, you become better, right?
Exactly.
Like anything in life.
Yeah, exactly. It goes back to the consistency, man. As long as you're consistent, you keep going, you're going to just start realizing what works and what doesn't work, and where your time is better spent. So I think it's awesome, man. So I wanted to break away from SMMA for a second, and I guess it kind of goes into personal brands, but what's something that I guess you're interested in building on the side, or something that's maybe not necessarily tied into the actual agency niche, that's something that either you have an idea or it's something that you're building on the side? That could be, for me, I'm trying to build a marketing newsletter. It's growing pretty fast, but it's just something that's like every Thursday I create a newsletter, send it out, decent open rates, and it's like a passion thing, but also I want to monetize it down the road. Is there something similar that you and maybe your business partner are kind of forming right now, or you want to talk about that?
Yeah, I mean, it's there's so many different things that you can build around your company, around your brand. So much of my day is focused on the agency stuff and the personal branding stuff, but I guess we have built out a Discord community that we're loving at the moment, agency network, and then obviously there's private agency network as well, when we're doing like Q&As, webinars. It's really fun just actually connecting. It's not just like a course kind of thing. It's actually like, I feel like I know those guys in there. So yeah, that's a really cool project. There's a load of business stuff. I'd say I'm mainly very, very obsessed with entrepreneurship and how I can, make more income, new ideas, ways that I can brand. So it is marginally around the agency stuff, but kind of not around the agency stuff. Launching new offers, coming up with new services. How can we deliver for this client? That's kind of like my vision at the moment. So yeah, it kind of just is my life. This, to be honest, which is quite sad. I wish I had something on the side. To be honest, that I was running. But at the moment, man, it's tunnel vision on this whole thing, and it has been like that for the last 7 months, like every day. And I think that's why I've progressed so much in such little time, as well, because I learned fundamentals of making online income before for like a year of failing. So that I brought that experience into then launching an agency, when some people launch an agency, as well as learning the basics of just online income, and it becomes a lot harder. But yeah, man, that's been it for 8 months every single day. Me and Harvey have been talking about how we need to probably rest more, because it is every single day. Like it's pretty crazy. Like after this, I'll promote, or I'll do something agency based. Check the Slack, check the Google Drive, making sure everyone's okay. But yeah, I'm obsessed with it, man.
I think that's awesome. I am too. I mean, you're not alone, because I think the people that are obsessed with making money online, the people that are obsessed with their craft, are the people that ultimately are going to succeed, because it's all I think about. It's all you think about. It's like I go to bed, and at night I'm thinking about what strategy can I use to grow my audience? What can I do for this one client that I'm not already doing? What's an outreach method that I haven't thought of yet? What are these video ideas I want to do? And then all of a sudden there's like a new company idea, and I have to snap myself back and be like, okay, well, we're spreading ourselves too thin. Focus on this one thing. But the people like that, like you and I don't want to sound arrogant, but it's dangerous, man, because I have full confidence that one day, like, I'm going to be able to sell my newsletter for tens of millions of dollars, and I just have that. Like, I have that mindset. And as if I think it's fun to build a company, I don't think it's work. I don't look at my job as work. I don't look at my agency as work, or my newsletter as work, or building an audience as work. It's like I wake up every single day and I'm motivated by what I do to get out of bed and like make money. And so I from what I've heard from you in a short period of time, is like you have that same mindset. And if you find yourself building an agency, trying to get your first client, and you hate every second of it, you don't have to love every second of it, but if you don't see the results ultimately, and you're hating it, and you're not enjoying the work that you're doing, then you're not maybe made for it. And it's kind of a harsh reality. But anyway, get off my soapbox. But no, the people like you and I, man, it's dangerous. And I think there's a lot of value behind the young entrepreneur, especially in today's world. So many opportunities, more than ever. And it's just 100%. Exciting to see where people go. Yeah.
And it's the competition's too high to not be obsessed. Like, even if I wasn't obsessed, I'd have to kind of self-hypnotize myself to be like, okay, look, like, you have to be obsessed with this, otherwise people are going to beat you, man. And I look online now, and it's like, if you're not like hyper obsessed, you're going to lose. Like, you're just going to lose. Like, if you aren't constantly innovating and thinking and taking smart decisions, actually thinking about your decisions, not being emotional, and actually thinking what's the next best step, then you're going to lose, because there's people out here that are just 24/7. It's
no
nuts,
kidding,
man. And I wish you the best of luck with the newsletter. I'll keep on watch, and
dude, I'll send you the link after this. That you can sign up. It's just weekly newsletter. If you're watching, sign up, please. Link in the description. It's free every Friday. Just marketing digital news. And I was actually motivated by this is something that you should start too in the UK. I think there's tons of value behind it. But do you know who Sam Parr is from My First Million? Do you watch that podcast?
I've heard of the podcast, but yeah.
Yeah, it's Sam Parr and Sean Puri, I think. Sorry if I said his last name wrong, but Sam Parr built The Hustle, which is one of the biggest like daily newsletters in the entire world. He sold it to HubSpot a few years ago for it was like, no specific number was disclosed, but it was like tens of millions of dollars, and now he just does whatever he wants. And I'm like, I saw his newsletter and I saw the value he was doing, and I was like, I could do that. It's going to take me some time to get that good, but the marketing space is so huge, and people, I think, would value behind it. And it's all about, especially with new businesses, it's like all about finding something that's not super niche, attacking it, providing value on a consistent basis, and it just will grow, because when you're passionate about it, until you're providing value. Value is a huge thing that I think a lot of people miss out on. So
yeah, and I think Alex Hormozi says it as well. It's like, just give, and don't expect nothing back, because then you will get shit back. And I've seen that. I've seen that play out so many times in my life, and especially with the marketing thing as well, and scaling free value online. You're always going to get it back. And I think if you build anything with enough value behind it, you're going to make a lot of money from it, right?
Absolutely.
So 100%. And like I said, I mean, if anyone wants to join Agency Network, you can as well.
Socials in the description. I'll put it in the description, definitely.
Thank you, bro.
Luke. It's been a pleasure having you on, man. I did want to wrap up with a question I like to kind of just end my podcast with. But I know it's March. We're almost a quarter away done with 2023, which is just insane. But is there a revenue mark that you want to hit, that you and your business partner are trying to hit for your agency by the end of the year? Like by December 31st at midnight, what's a revenue mark you want to hit? And if you don't have one, now's the time to think of one.
I mean, agents. Wow, it's a good question. I always like to aim high. If we can do 100K in revenue, it's very nice. So I'll go for that. Definitely, man. Cool. Achievable, and the mindset that I've heard from you is, Thanks, my friend.
I have no doubt that you'll get it. So, dude, it has been an absolute pleasure having you on, man. Like I said, Luke's socials will be in the description. But I think I speak for everybody when I say I'm looking forward to kind of seeing your brand grow and your business grow.
Thank you.
You're only 18, so like. You're doing good, man. Keep it going, bro. This is awesome.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you for having me on. It's been a great conversation, actually. I hope people have found value from it. And guys, keep going with your agency, even if it's tough at the moment. Trust me, you might have 1 month where it's all down, and the next month it's like it's all up, right? Keep going, build out a personal brand. Like I said, Will, thank you for having me on, and man.
Absolutely, man.